What is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, happy Wednesday. Guys, we got a big show for you all today. We're talking what happens after a player gets cut from the WNBA. Where do they go? What do they do? We're also going to talk about Ariel Powers, who is back in the WNBA. And we're going to celebrate the legacy of Allie Quigley in her time in the WNBA as she has officially retired. And we got more to talk about in today's episode of Quita in the Morning. So, without wasting more time, let's get into it.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Ready, set, go.
Guys, I love that intro. I love it. I love that intro. And let's kick it off with the first topic, which is, have you ever wondered, guys? Have you ever wondered when watching the WNBA draft? You watch the draft and you're all excited about the players that got drafted. And you're like, yes, I watched that player in college. They were so fantastic. I love it. They went to this team and hopefully there's going to be a bright future for them in the WNBA. Only to wait maybe a month, maybe two, and be like, wait, what happened to that player? What happened to her? She was drafted. She was all excited. We were all excited for her, and now she has disappeared. Seriously. A player plays well in college. They get drafted in April to the WNBA. They show up to training camp. They show up in a tweet or two from the team that drafted them, and then all of a sudden, they're gone. Poof. No real updates besides the fact that XYZ player just got cut. That's it. And we don't really hear much about them until the following year when they make another practice or another training camp roster or something else. Or maybe we hear that, eventually they signed overseas and they did something. But there's not much action for them in the United States. And this is a part of the women's basketball story that just doesn't get told enough. Where in the world do these players go in the U.S. after they get cut? Because a thing to remember, guys, is that the WNBA is brutal, right? There is 156 maximum spots. 12 players on each roster at a maximum, 13 teams. That's it. And this year, the list of players who got squeezed out of the WNBA is large, meaning brand new players who just just graduated college and was trying to make their WNBA career start, as well as veterans of the WNBA who came into this season teamless. But here's the thing. That is not the end of the story. Just because a player is not on a WNBA roster, that's not the end. Especially now because there is a new league that is quietly becoming the next chapter for a lot of these players. It is called the 3XBA, and it very well might be the most important women's basketball league that you have not heard about. So, in this stream, we're going to talk about the 3XBA. We're going to talk about what it means, the pathway back to the WNBA for some of these players, or a pathway straight to the Olympics, should they choose so. So, you may be wondering, okay, 3XBA, I've never heard of that. What in the world is the 3XBA? Well, the 3XBA is a 3-on-3, 3x3 basketball association, and it is the first and only women's pro FIBA 3x3 league in the United States. The thing about this league is that it's a fast league, right? It's Olympic rules. It's 10-minute quarters, or 10-minute games, I should say. Right? 12-second shot clock. We got half-court play. Official Olympic format. And the season is played over the summer months that coincides with well-established international women's FIBA season. So, yeah, this is like an official thing. Now, this is not backyard basketball. This is not pickup basketball. This is real, regulated, internationally recognized and sanctioned competition. It was founded by three people, Alana McDonald, Arlen Hamilton, and Holly Anderson-Levlow. And the 3XBA is trying to build something that the WNBA can't do. Providing players with a summer league that gives a clear developmental path. You can go two routes. You can go the route of the global pipeline to Olympic play, meaning being able to qualify for 3x3 in the Olympics. Or you can just use this as an opportunity to just get better, and better and better. So that way, when your number and your name is called in the WNBA, you'll be ready. And honestly, guys, the timing of this league couldn't be better. It really couldn't be. And we look at why players are joining. Well, the reason why they're joining, and I'm going to talk about some of the players who are in this league, but the reason why players are joining is because it's an opportunity. Because WNBA training camp is a bloodbath of sorts, right? Every year, promising draft prospects, they get drafted. Some of them are NCAA champions. We got others who are WNBA veterans who are not on a team but signed a training camp contract. They get cut in training camp. Not because they can't play, but because there's just not enough room in the WNBA. Again, there is 156 maximum spots, but in reality, it's less than that. And now some of these players are turning to the XBA because the WNBA does not have a developmental league, right? The NBA and the G League gives so many spots potential for players. So many spots. But in the WNBA, it doesn't have that. So the 3XBA is trying to sort of bridge that gap. And also, guys, if y'all are rocking with this, make sure to hit that like button and also hit that subscribe button as well. I know that sometimes, this is not as this is not a clickbaity topic. This is not a sensational topic. So less people are going to watch. However, for those who are watching, make sure to tell a neighbor and tell a friend that we are online, we are doing this, and we're giving people some real information. Okay? All right. And also, if you all have any questions, save your questions for the end, and I'll try to get to some of your questions about the 3XBA. All right. So, who in the world is participating in this thing? Well, there's a lot of names that you all probably know. Names like Harmony Turner. Harmony Turner has signed with the 3XBA. She was drafted by the Las Vegas Aces this past WNBA draft. She also does have FIBA 3x3 experience. She participated in the FIBA 3x3 U23 World Cup team where they won the gold medal. So that's kind of cool. She also is someone who has racked up in terms of accolades. She was the Becky Hammon Mid-Major Award winner, Player of the Year, right? She was the Ivy League Player of the Year this past season. And this past season, she was number 1 in scoring, field goal percentage, and steals in the Ivy League. So, big deal. Harmony Turner is now going to be playing for the 3XBA. Next up, let's talk about Madison Scott, another player who was drafted in 2023 by the WNBA. She was drafted by the Dallas Wings. Number 14 overall pick. She is someone who had a illustrious career at Ole Miss. First team All-SEC, 2-time SEC Defensive Player of the Year. And she does have 3x3 experience. She previously played in the USA 3x3 Women's Series. Next up, let's talk about Serena Sundell. She's another player who was drafted in the 2025 WNBA draft. She was drafted by the Seattle Storm. And she also has experience with 3x3 as well. She played in the USA Basketball 3x3 nationals team in 2022, right? She had a great career with the K-State Wildcats, and with the Wildcats, she was doing her thing. 2-time All Big 12, I should say, first team player. She is someone who finished her career with 1,500 points at K-State. She is the all-time assist leader at K-State. And now she's going to be continuing her pro career in the U.S. with the 3XBA. Next up, let's talk about Zay Green. Zay Green had a great HBCU career and then went over to Alabama. She was ultimately drafted this past a couple months ago to the Washington Mystics. She led Alabama in total scoring this past season. She also was a big assist leader for this team and had been rocking and rolling with Alabama, I should say. And now she is also with the 3XBA. All right. Next up, let's talk about Caitlin Chen. Caitlin Chen, KC. She was a huge, big-time Ivy League player at Princeton before transferring over to UConn, where she finished off her college career. She was drafted by the Golden State Valkyries in this past WNBA draft, and she did her thing in college, right? She was a starter on UConn's championship team. She was a 3-time Ivy League regular season and tournament champion. She was the Ivy League Player of the Year in 2023. She was a 3-time Ivy League tournament MVP. Basically, she was a baller. Went over to UConn, did her thing, got drafted into the WNBA. Ultimately, as with all of these other players, got cut. And now she is continuing her U.S. pro career with the 3XBA. Next up, let's talk about Cheyenne Sellers. Cheyenne Sellers had a fantastic career with Maryland, was ultimately drafted in this past WNBA draft to the Golden State Valkyries, ultimately got cut, got picked up, and then ultimately got cut again. And she is trying to figure out what's next for her. There's some concern about her possibly still being injured. However, she's playing in 3XBA, and she's going to show us what she can do. She also has a substantial amount of 3x3 experience as well. And also, fun fact, did you know that Cheyenne Sellers is the first player in Maryland history to have 1,500 points, 500 rebounds, 500 assists in her career. She's a 3-time first-team All-Big Ten player. All right, next up, let's talk about Aranette Vonleh. She was also drafted to the WNBA this past year, drafted to the Dallas Wings. This is someone who had an illustrious career, at Colorado and then ultimately at Baylor. She was the Big 12 Newcomer of the Year winner in 2024. This is someone who, when she was with the Pac-12, was an all-conference player. And Aranette Vonleh is trying to see what she could do with 3x3. Now let's move on to someone who had been in the league for a while and now is out of the league, and that's Grace Berger. Grace Berger was someone who was drafted by the Indiana Fever several years ago. I believe she was the number 7 pick, I believe. Played with the Indiana Fever, then ended up signing a training camp contract with the Minnesota Lynx. This past offseason, she ultimately did not make the cut for the roster, and she is now going to be doing 3x3. And so we'll see what she can do on that front. She's won a ton of accolades, 4-time first-team All-Big Ten player. This is someone who has international experience, but not from a 3x3 perspective. And so that's kind of cool that she's going to have that opportunity. And 3 more, actually, I want to talk about real quick. Mackenzie Holmes, another player she was drafted in 2024, ultimately got waived this training camp by the Seattle Storm. This is someone who was a big freaking deal in college. 4-time, I should say, all Big Ten defensive player. And she was someone who was a 4-time All Big Ten first team player. She was a finalist for a whole bunch of awards, was a Wooden Award finalist and All-American in 2023. Mackenzie Holmes was fan-freaking-tastic. Now she is doing 3x3. And we got 2, we're going to leave off with 2 Gamecocks. First up, we have Destiny Henderson, who has been with a bunch of teams, in the WNBA so far. She was drafted by the Indiana Fever, then was with the Atlanta Dream, LA Sparks, Phoenix Mercury. Like, she's been all over the place in terms of her WNBA career so far, and she is still trying to find a place to ultimately be. And finally, we got Bree Hall. Bree Hall was also selected by the Indiana Fever in 2015, and she is a two-time national championship player. She is someone who is a fan-freaking-tastic defender. She is also someone who can spot up and shoot. But she has, as with all these other players, found her way out of the league, and she's trying to figure out a way to get back in the league, and also trying to get some international experience as well, which is probably why she's doing the 3XBA. So, I've gone through that list, and you all may be like, okay, what does all this mean? Because these players, they're not going overseas just yet right now. They are staying closer to home. They're playing the 3XBA. They're keeping their names in the conversation. But in today's ecosystem, some of y'all probably didn't even know this existed. Some of y'all probably had no idea that some of these players were still playing pro basketball in the U.S. Some of y'all are probably like, what? I forgot all about XYZ player. And honestly, I'm not surprised by that. The reason why is because, the 3XBA, while it's a thing, while it's giving opportunity for these players, it hasn't gotten much opportunity, much publicity, I should say. But the thing that I wanted to talk about this because I think it's important. Because the 3XBA does have a connection to the Olympics. Because this is not just a thing to do to stay in shape for these players, to keep busy. This is a legitimate pathway to the Olympics. FIBA's 3x3 format is official. And it has its own ranking system. So if you want to play for Team USA in the Olympics, you need FIBA points. And those points come from sanctioned 3x3 events, which makes the 3XBA so important. Because yes, we have the new league Unrivaled, which also has a 3-on-3 format. However, that's full court, a smaller court that has its own rules and all that stuff. And it has nothing to really do with FIBA. And the difference is that when players are participating in the 3XBA, they are following official FIBA rules. So that means that players are building resumes that count. Not just for the WNBA, but for the Olympics. Because if you all know, if you all remember in Paris, some of y'all were like, how did these players on Team USA, some of y'all was like, how in the world did these players make the Team USA 3x3 team? Points. That's how. All right? That's how Sierra Burdick has been in the 3x3 space for so long and has played at the highest levels. Points. That's the blueprint. And for the U.S. women's basketball ecosystem, they're starting to realize that, hey, if I want to play in the Olympics, if I want to play on the biggest of scales, I need to be associated with FIBA when it comes to 3x3. And the 3XBA is an opportunity to do that. So, yeah, I think it's kind of cool. So, here's the maybe frustrating part. Maybe you all are like, oh, this is kind of cool. Olympic implications, pro-level talent, shouldn't we be seeing this everywhere? Why haven't I heard about this? But for the most part, let me know in the comments if y'all were even aware of this thing existing, because I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all were not aware of this. And most of the awareness right now of this league is coming directly from the league itself and the players who are now getting signed. And it's a huge silence from major media outlets. Not much has been written about this new league and these players who are finding themselves playing in this league. And to me, that's a bit of a disconnect, right? Because we all say we want more opportunities for players who don't make the WNBA. We say we want to support these ladies. We want to watch them. We want to see where their career goes. But then when they make other moves, when they get signed to other things, we don't even know it exists. And so that's why I wanted to specifically have a segment on this, because I know this is not going to get a lot of attention. The numbers are not going to be very high for this thing. However, I want to talk about it because I think it's important. And I think it's important for us as basketball fans, not just to pay attention to just the WNBA during this time. Because the WNBA is not the only thing that exists right now. We also have other opportunities for WNBA and former WNBA players. All right? And it is, one of those things is the 3XBA. There are other opportunities in like semi-pro and whatnot for women's basketball players as well. And on this channel, we will be going through all of them, okay? We will be going through all of the various leagues and opportunities. All right, so make sure to, if y'all want to hear more, not just about the 3XBA, but about other stuff as well, subscribe. Rock with your girl. Because we're not just doing this clickbait stuff. We're not just doing stuff that doesn't matter. We're telling you all stuff that is actually important. Okay? All right. So, let's say you're interested. You're like, yes, I want to watch the 3XBA. I want to watch these players. I want to see what they do. Well, here's what you all need to know. The players that I just mentioned and also some players that I did not mention are participating in the Spokane Hoop Fest. All right, this happens between June the 27th and June the 28th, and it is a pro women's FIBA 3x3 tournament at the largest 3x3 basketball event in the world. Hoop Fest has a lot of players who participate in it. It's around it's a lot of people who participate in this thing. They're playing on thousands of teams, literally playing on hundreds of basketball courts during that time. And Hoop Fest spans a whole bunch of blocks in Spokane. It is a community event that yes, is basketball, but also it's like a festival as well. It's like a basketball festival, which is kind of cool. And for the 3XBA, they will be at Hoop Fest, and they will feature 32 players, women's basketball players. All right, some are former college stars, some are former WNBA players, some are players who maybe made a training camp roster, but did not ultimately make a WNBA team. But these are good players. These are good players that are participating in the 3XBA, and they're going to be competing in this tournament. And this tournament is going to serve as a FIBA 3x3 Women's Series qualifier, which means that the winning roster will earn a bid to the Edmonton stop of the FIBA 3x3 Women's Series that is happening on August the 1st and the 2nd. That's something you all need to know. If you all want to actually go to Spokane and watch this, from what I understand, the 3XBA will actually take place on Center Court, and it will be televised and live streamed. Now, the places where it will be televised and live streamed, I don't know where it's going to be televised. However, it will likely be live streamed on a 3XBA platform. So if you want to go to it, you can. But if you also want to watch it on TV and also stream it, you can do that as well. So times are changing. Times are changing, guys. The WNBA is growing. The fan base is growing. The talent pool is overflowing. And if we want to meet the moment, if we want to give these ladies the platform and opportunities that they deserve, well, we need to stop waiting for the perfect solution. And already, we need to start supporting the ones that are already here. Because the 3XBA is not just a side hustle thing for some of these players. It can be a bridge. It can be a proving ground. It can be a launch pad to something bigger. And for some, it is the road to the WNBA. For others, it is the road to the Olympics. And for all of us, it is a reminder that women's basketball does not end when a player gets waived for the WNBA. They have a long journey that does not stop at roster cuts. And the game is so much bigger than just the WNBA. So, let me ask you, have you ever heard about the 3XBA? Do you believe that the 3XBA could be a great opportunity and a great bridge for players to possibly get back in the WNBA and sort of keep up their skills? Do you think that this could be a great opportunity for players to possibly get in the Olympics? I'm curious to hear what you all have to say. Will you be tuning in? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, let me know what you all thought of this segment. Again, it's not super, super flashy, but it is a topic that I actually think is super important. I think it's very, very important. All right. Let's see what you all have to say. C says, FIBA 3x3 is free to watch in most parts of the world. FIBA does YouTube Live for most 3x3 tournaments. They do. Shamika says, Quita, when you have more details about times and where to watch, please update us. I will. Yeah, I will. Nancy said, never heard of this new group or league. Well, now you know, because it's Mike's Super Short Show. Does anyone know that? Anyone? I think that was on Disney Channel when I was younger. Like, it would be like these little small segment things. Mike's Super Short Show. Anyway. Kristen says, love the segment. Thank you. I'm happy that you all are interested in this. Kentucky Rick says, FIBA style 3x3 is not just for me. I tried watching throughout the Olympics. Fair enough. Mando says, are the 3x3 players still available for the WNBA this year? I mean, if a team wants to sign them, yeah. If a team wants to sign them. So we will see what happens. Rotu says, good opportunity for players. Glad you are sharing this info. I didn't know about it and will do some research and watch it. I love the game so much. Some more opportunity to watch basketball. Yeah. Oh, Tisha knows Mike's Super Short Show. Okay. So some of y'all do know it. All right. Well, that is that segment. So again, guys, as we do this show, again, a huge part of what I want to do is highlight stuff that people are not talking about. Highlight stuff that matters that people are not talking about. Because there's more than just the WNBA happening right now. There's more than just college basketball. There's other leagues. There's other opportunities. There's other things that are happening in the space of women's basketball. And I think it's important for us to talk about it. It's important for us to talk about it. All right. Next up. She's back. She is back. Ariel Powers is back in the WNBA. And it's about time. Because if you all have been watching the WNBA, you all know that Ariel Powers is a straight up hooper. And the fact that she was out of the league at all is not a reflection necessarily on her game. It's just a reflection of how this league works and sometimes how vets get lost in the shuffle. But that's over now because Ariel Powers is suiting up for the Golden State Valkyries, and she's bringing some much needed firepower to this young and shuffling Golden State Valkyries team. So let's talk about what this move means, why it matters, and who exactly is Ariel Powers. So let's get to the comeback story that is Ariel Powers. All right. Take a look at this graphic on the screen real quick. I want to just talk through this real quick. She has had a rough last couple of years. She won a championship with the Washington Mystics in 2019, and she has been on a series of injury roller coasters ever since then. All right, in 2020, she had a hamstring injury. She only played 6 games in that year, averaging 16 points for that season. But again, you only played in 6 games. In 2020-21, she had a tear in her thumb, and she only played in 14 games that year, averaging 13.4 points a game. In 2022, she was healthy, did her thing with the Minnesota Lynx, 14.4 points a game. She shot 38% from the field. Then here comes 2023. She does deal with an injury, ankle sprain, where she only plays in around 20 games. In that year, she only averaged 9.8 minutes a game, 5.2 points per game, but she did shoot very efficiently during that year. 2024, she had a calf injury with the Atlanta Dream, where she only played in around 17 games and she averaged 8.6 points per game. And in 2025, she is back in the WNBA with the Golden State Valkyries. Now, if all of that wasn't enough, during that time in 2023, while she was dealing with injury, but she did play way less minutes than we expected her to play. Minnesota basically sidelined her for a lot of 2023, despite her leading the team in scoring in 2022. That was a whole situation. I believe I covered that on this channel. So make sure to go back and just type in Ariel Powers, Quita Loves Sports, and then you'll probably see a video or two talking about Ariel Powers and the situation that she had in Minnesota. But through all of the injuries, all of the not so great stuff when it comes to Ariel Powers, she has stayed true to basketball, right? Because she can still play. This is someone who averaged 10.5 points in her career so far. She's a straight-up scorer. She has the build for it, the motor for it. She has a deep bag in terms of what she can do on the court. She's one of those few guards that plays like a forward, and that's pretty fun to see, and that's what she brings to the team, right? 5'11". She has size. She has a very strong transition game. She is a veteran scorer. She's someone who has heavy playoff experience. And also someone who can knock down the three. Yes, she is injury prone. However, there's a lot of pros that she offers this team as well. So let's look at the Golden State Valkyries. And let's look at the roster changes that they have, right? You got Julie Van Loo, Tammy Fagbenle, Janelle Salon, and Cecilia Zanalissini all going over to Eurobasket. All those players are going over. And so the Golden State Valkyries need some players. They need some bodies. So they previously just signed Letitia Amihir back to the squad. And now they pick up Ariel Powers for a rest of the season contract. And this is a really, really good move because Ariel Powers can do a little bit of everything. And in a lot of ways, she is not just an insurance type of thing where you just need somebody and you get somebody, but she is also a very experienced player. She knows how to handle the moment on the court, and you better believe, Natalie Nicase, she's going to use Ariel Powers quite a bit. The Golden State Valkyries are looking good. I talked about them yesterday. And they are looking to make the playoffs even with some of their key players overseas in Eurobasket. And Ariel Powers can absolutely be a steadying presence for this team. And she can be someone who can be kind of a microwave scorer off the bench. And so that's something to note. This Golden State Valkyries team is very scrappy. They're very scrappy. They're very fun. And ahead, they have a huge schedule ahead. And this Eurobasket exodus, it's going to be a real challenge for this team. However, getting players like a Letitia Amihere and an Ariel Powers in the fold, I think is a big, big, big deal. She's not, because Ariel Powers is not just a rookie who is just sort of learning on the fly. She is a vet who understands her role, brings a clear skill set, and someone who is very, very hungry. Okay? And yeah, we'll see ultimately what she is able to do. Because Ariel Powers was never washed. She was just someone who dealt with a lot of injuries. And she was overlooked. But she is back in the WNBA. And she is about to make the Golden State Valkyries a whole heck of a lot better. So, WNBA, you've been warned. You didn't pick Ariel Powers up before the season started, and now you better watch out because Ariel Powers is about to rock and roll with the Golden State Valkyries. So, what do y'all think ultimately about Ariel Powers? Are y'all familiar with her game? Just overall, let me know what you all think about this situation. Because again, I think Eurobasket is helping a lot of players get back into this league. There's a lot of players who were out of the league and, it's an opportunity. Yes, sure. Could it be more on a temporary basis? Yes. However, show up and show out. Take your opportunity and run with it. Okay? Take your opportunity and run with it. Kirsten says, I love watching the Valkyries. Yeah, the Valkyries are a fun team to watch. For sure. Oh, thank you so much, Chris, for the super chat. I apologize for missing that earlier. Thank you so much. Appreciate the support. Faye says we have 300 people in the chat. Hit that like button. Yes, hit that like button. Hit that like button. It really does. And also, please share this with others. Please share this. All right. Quintus says she has a lot to prove. That's what I think. She's proven it in the past. I'm sure she's going to prove it again. Because Kay Jackson is right. Ariel Powers can hoop. Yeah, that was just not a great situation. That 2023 season with Ariel Powers in Minnesota, it was not a good situation. And so I'm happy that they have all separated. Okay. All right. Tulip says, everyone playing Golden State Valkyries now is lucky. Huge losses to Eurobasket. However, again, they still do have a lot of talent on this team, and I don't think it'll be that dramatic of a drop-off. They're still going to be crazy, crazy competitive. All right. Now let's continue on. Allie Quigley did not just make headlines. She made history. This is someone who was a historic WNBA player. And she didn't get a farewell tour because she didn't need it. She didn't need to go to all the arenas and get everybody to clap for her. She didn't need to do a tearful press conference to say goodbye. She just simply stopped playing. And now, 3 years later, she has made it official. One of the greatest shooters in WNBA history, the quiet legend from Joliet, Illinois, is finally retiring. But if you all are like, yeah, I've heard of Allie Quigley. Yeah, she's a shooter. That's primarily all she did. I want to rewind the story a little bit, and I want to talk about why Allie Quigley's journey in the WNBA is not just an opportunity to look at, again, one of the greatest shooters in the WNBA, but also an opportunity to look at what is possible for players who persevere. Because if you all don't know this, Allie Quigley, her WNBA career almost did not happen. She was drafted by the Seattle Storm in 2008. She was cut from the team. She bounced around the league. She went to several teams. She ended up getting cut by 4 teams 5 times in a very small period of time. And by 2012, she was out of the WNBA entirely. When you have 5 cuts between 4 teams, there's 0 guarantees that you will ever play in the WNBA again. Most people would have just known you to be, oh, wasn't that the good girl, the great shooter and whatnot that played at DePaul? Yeah, that was Allie Quigley. But Allie did not allow the early disappointment in the WNBA to show her destiny. Most players would have probably walked away. Most players would have probably been like, you know what? None of these teams want me. I need to head on out. But most players are not Allie Quigley, because Allie Quigley didn't do that. She wanted to play in the WNBA. That was her thing. That's what she wanted to do, and she did everything she could to get there. She went overseas. She honed her game, and she came back sharper. Not just figuratively, but like actually literally. Like her jumper was like really, really good. She became an elite spot-up 3-point shooter in the WNBA. She fought her way into training camp, got an opportunity with the Chicago Sky, and boom, history. It was a new hometown. New hometown. She's from Joliet, but she went to DePaul. You get what I'm saying? She is basically her hometown team. She had a new opportunity, and she took it and made stuff happen. Okay? And she finally stuck. And she went from a forgotten player who was bounced around from team to team to team to team to team into a integral sniper for the Chicago Sky. Allie Quigley joined the Chicago Sky. This was a team that was still searching for identity, a team that was still trying to figure out what in the world are we? What type of team are we? But piece by piece, she became one of the big time building blocks. This is someone who ended up being an integral player off the bench initially. 2-time 6th player of the year for Allie Quigley. She became an all-star 3 times. This is someone who was the Chicago Sky's all-time leading scorer. That was until a couple of games ago, where Courtney Vandersloot just took that spot. So now she's the number 2 all-time leading scorer in Chicago Sky history. This is someone who was a 3-point assassin. 3-point assassin. This is someone who played in the WNBA and not just was a scorer during regular games, but also she won the 3-point contest 4 times. It's the most ever in WNBA and NBA history. That's kind of cool. Right? This is someone who helped this Chicago Sky win the 2021 WNBA championship. Right? This is someone who not only was she a player in the championship, but like she was big time in the finals to help the Sky win. there was something about Allie Quigley that resonated with Chicago Sky fans, or really just Chicago in general, because she was local. She had all of these things that came in the way of her dream, and she broke through it all and made it happen. And honestly, in a lot of ways, for Allie Quigley, the ending that she had, it unfortunately did not give enough justice to what she gave to the game. So let's talk about Allie Quigley and how good she was and is. She was not just a three-point shooter. She had fantastic shooting mechanics. Her release from the basketball was absolutely fantastic. We see Allie Quigley retire with over 500 made threes in the WNBA. She retires shooting 39% from the three in her career. And when it all comes down to it, she is the most accurate shooter in WNBA history when it comes to three-point shots. And again, the contest, she won it 4 times. No one in the WNBA and the NBA has done that. She's a certified bucket. She ended up writing a Players Tribune letter yesterday, and she talked about the fact that, hey, she was not trying to pull an Irish goodbye on the WNBA. And for that, yeah, sure, I believe her. But also, I'm also just like, as a fan, I'm also like, man, that was very. When she said she was not going to play in the following season, I knew that, yeah, she's just going to retire. That she's done. She's never playing again. But things happen. She thought she was possibly going to come back to the WNBA. Does not happen. And now she moves on with the rest of her life, right? Her and Courtney have a new baby, and that's a thing. And so now she's like, hey, actually, now is the time that I actually fully want to close the chapter in my playing career. But it allows us an opportunity, now that she is officially retired, it allows us an opportunity to officially sort of tell her what we think about her. Because I always think it's important to tell people what you think, because Allie Quigley may not have been the loudest voice in the room. She wasn't, She didn't command a lot of attention, but she earned it. Through the way she trained, through her perseverance, through her shots, through the way she quietly led the Chicago Sky. The way she went to DePaul, went all around the WNBA, came back to Chicago, and built something real with the Chicago Sky. She was inducted into DePaul's Hall of Fame in 2024. And of course, it makes a lot of sense. And she got a lot of fanfare for that, because Allie Quigley is, in a lot of ways, greatness personified. All right. So, as someone who has been a fan of hers literally for well over a decade and longer, from someone who got a lot of enjoyment watching Allie and her sister play at DePaul, to watching Allie play at Wintrust Arena with the Chicago Sky. This is someone who was a big deal for Chicago, a big deal for the WNBA, a big deal for Skytown. So here's to Allie Quigley, the hometown hero who never chased the spotlight. But when she was in the gym, she lit it up just about every single time. From someone who got cut several times to someone who held up a championship trophy. She is a sharpshooter that is a Chicago icon. So thank you, Allie Quigley, for being amazing. Thank you for every single 3 you dropped in the WNBA with the Chicago Sky. For every awesome moment, for the legacy that will echo through the league forever. You did not just play for the Chicago Sky. You helped to build the Chicago Sky legacy. And for that, we are super, super grateful for you. I think she just was amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I think it's important for us to celebrate that, for us to talk about that, and for us to just showcase what she meant to the W. Right? What she meant to the W. She had a 14-year WNBA career. And now it's over. Now it is over. Over her career, she averaged 10.9 points a game, which some of y'all may be like, oh, what's the big deal? 10.9. But like, you have to see the moments that she was hugely, hugely impactful for. She was a big deal. And I think it's kind of fun to acknowledge and honor those who did their thing, right? So yeah, that's my little nod to Allie Quigley. All right, that is my nod to Allie Quigley. She finishes her WNBA career making 510 3-point shots. 510. It's quite a bit. That is quite a bit. So anyway, that is that segment. That is that segment. Guys, that's basically the stream. That is basically the stream. Let me know, were you all a fan of Allie Quigley? Do you all remember Allie Quigley when she played for the Chicago Sky? Her last season playing was in 2022. So she played from 2008. Again, played for several teams. Played briefly for the Phoenix Mercury, played briefly for the Indiana Fever, played briefly for the San Antonio Silver Stars, aka now the Golden State Valkyries, but it was San Antonio back then. Played for the Seattle Storm, and finished off her career with the Chicago Sky from 2013 to 2022. All right, so there's a lot of talk in the chat about the Chicago Sky, and guys, we can and will talk about this current construction of the Chicago Sky. If you all want my commentary about the Sky in their most recent game yesterday, well, watch the recap I put out last night, talking about my thoughts on that front. All right. That is the stream. Ken says, sorry I joined late. What's the news about Grace Berger? Grace Berger is playing in a league called the 3XBA. Okay. Shamika says, sad we didn't talk about the games yesterday. Well, real quick, let's talk about the games that happened yesterday. Yesterday we saw two games happen. We saw the Indiana Fever lose to the Atlanta Dream. The final score of that game was 58 Indiana, 77 Atlanta. And then the Chicago Sky lost to the New York Liberty, 66 Chicago, 85 New York Liberty. The Atlanta Dream are a fantastic team. They are a team, again, who a lot of people didn't think they would be as good as they are this year, but they are rocking and rolling. The reason why is because they have a lot of different pieces. They got Alicia Gray, who is having a absolute moment in her WNBA career right now. So far, so yesterday she had 23 points. She is someone who is definitely going to be in the running for most improved player of the year. She's been rocking and rolling. We got Brianna Jones, who is looking really, really good as well. She had 21 points in that game yesterday. She was someone who can't be stopped. And then you go to the bench, and who do you have? You have Nia Coffey, right? You got a player like a Nas Hillman that can add you some minutes. Yes, Ryan Howard had a bad shooting game. She had a bad shooting game. However, everybody else stepped up for the Atlanta Dream, and they were able to get the win. Also, huge thing. Jordan Canada is back with the Atlanta Dream. She is back. She is healthy, and it's very good to see her on the basketball court. So that was a game that happened yesterday between the Fever and the Atlanta Dream. I mean, the Fever they just couldn't hang. They just could not hang. And so, yeah, that's something to know. And also, they shoot pretty inefficiently as well. They shoot pretty inefficiently. And then for the Chicago Sky versus New York Liberty, again, I made a whole recap about that, so you all can just watch that. Later today, we have a couple of games happening today, and they happen all at the same time, which is kind of annoying. We have the LA Sparks versus the Las Vegas Aces. We have the Dallas Wings versus the Phoenix Mercury, and we also have the Minnesota Lynx versus the Seattle Storm. All right, so those are the games that are happening in the WNBA today. Hopefully, this was a cool stream for you all. I, again, always want to cover stuff that is insightful, interesting, not just random talk. And so I hope y'all are interested in that. Hopefully y'all rock with that. If y'all could, please make sure to share this with someone. Share this with someone. Please share this with someone. Also, if you all want to watch or listen to the Quita in the Morning podcast, literally just go in your favorite podcast provider, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever. Type in Quita in the Morning, no S, and then you will see the podcast. All right? It should get uploaded shortly after these streams are done. All right, that is the show. Thank you all so much for rocking with me. Guys, this has been Quita in the Morning. Let's talk about more stuff tomorrow, okay? Let's talk about more stuff tomorrow. We'll talk about the games tomorrow. Again, I want this to be more than just a recap show. I want this to be just more than just a recap show. I want this to be, yes, a recap show that talks about the games, but also talks about other stuff as well. Because there's a lot more happening in the WNBA than just the games you see on TV. There's a lot more happening. So hopefully y'all are still interested in this stuff. Hopefully. Anyway, share this, like this, but please share this. All right. And I will see y'all in the next one. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Are you ready?
Ready, set.